Brick Vander, I'm going to say Brick. I'm butchering these names here, okay? Confessed to murdering a black South African woman's husband and her son. He described it in graphic detail. He admitted to burning the husband's body. He admitted to killing the son and laughing about it with the other officers. And this woman, elderly, small, quiet, she sat there and listened to every word. Ladies and gentlemen, as a wife and as a mother, I can't even imagine what it must be like to sit there listening in unbelievable detail about the unaliving. And so I know I hate that word. Just saying, YT. Just saying. Of hearing the graphic detail, the final moments of your husband and son. Now, I live in America. And relatively to other countries, it's pretty safe. Despite, the border being open for 4 years. Anyway, it's pretty safe compared to other countries. I can, for now, worship Jesus without being, And I feel incredibly safe when I'm with my husband. When I'm with my husband, I don't even think of the word safe. And I can't imagine what it's like to have your husband brutally ripped away from you. Having your husband lay next to you in bed, you feel safe. It's not 100% guarantee safety, but man, it helps. It can help a wife sleep if she's married to a good man. That's important. And then you have a boy. I have 2 sons that I love so much. And you love that boy. That boy looks like your husband. He is your treasure, the Lord's greatest gift. And somebody comes in and takes it away from you. And you sit there and you have to hear it. I'm here to tell you, that would be very difficult. I can't even imagine, but let's go on. Now, after his confession, the commissioners asked her what she wanted. And this is what her response is going to be. Now, before I read this to you, I would like for you to sit and think about what your response would be. All right, because I'm going to go back and I'm going to see if there's any more detail about how this happened. So while I do that, which, would be instantaneous by the time, this instantaneous, while you think about it. Just pause the video or, think about, put yourself in this lady's shoes and think about your thoughts and reaction if you were faced with something like this. I should not have smiled. I'm awkward. So yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna kind of, hopefully YT doesn't take me down here, but I'm gonna get into detail about what happened. I'm gonna try to clean it up as I go. Okay, so there are 2 independent published accounts that describe the audio things, and I'm not saying that in an insensitive way. I'm just saying it because I'm a YT, guys. Super sensitive nowadays, but I'm saying audio thing, okay? All right, I hate saying unaliving. I know I just said it like a couple seconds ago, but I don't want to say unaliving. So I'm not saying it to be insensitive. So let's continue. So 2 independent published accounts describe the audio scenes in almost identical detail. Okay, so number 1, the son's passing. According to Christians Today retelling of the TRC testimony, Officer Vanderbroek and other officers viewed her 18-year-old son at point blank range. Then they burned his body. Turning it over in the fire while they partied. So there's a lot to unpack there, and I just had 2 sentences. This matches a similar description in the Watertown Public Opinion snippet, which also states the son was burned while officers partied. Now, we're going into the husband's passing. Okay. 8 years later, Officer Vanderbroek and others, so there's more than one officer. I'm assuming Vanderbroek is the leader of this pack. Seized her husband, according to Christian Today. Took the woman to a woodpile where her husband lay bound. Forced her to watch as they poured gasoline over him and set the match. His last words to her, according to Christian Today, forgive them. These details are consistent across these two sources. I guess these are the only two sources, or the two sources that broke this story. Now, I did want to go and find out some more information about the mom slash wife. Now I looked high and low. I even went and used AI to see if I can find out any information about this woman. Her name has never been reported. No one knows. The world does not know who this woman is. Here's what we do know. She was an elderly black South African woman. She testified during the Truth and Reconciliation Commission hearings. She lost both her son and her husband to an apartheid-era police violence. Her testimony is one of the most widely cited examples of radical forgiveness in TRC literature. So her story, her forgiveness is the most talked about. What we don't know, like I mentioned before, her name, her age, location, her family background, whether she ever continued contact with Vanderbroek after the hearing, whether she's still alive. Why her name is missing, the story appears in Christian Today, Mennonite newsletters, sermons, peace and justice publications, forgiveness lectures, but there's no name. Doesn't mean that the story ain't real. The story is real, obviously. Now, according to this, I just read, anonymity isn't suspicious. It's common for Truth and Reconciliation Commission victim accounts. So it's not unheard of. It's to protect the identity, I assume. Now, a lot of people would say, is the story real? Yes, the story is widely documented in religious and reconciliation literature, and the details of the killings are consistent across multiple sources. But the woman's identity is it's not publicly recorded. So we're probably never going to find out who this woman is. So I did find a news article here from Watertown Public Opinion, and I'm going to kind of go over that a little bit. And again, I am reading, so I'm kind of cheating a little bit. It's this reaction video, okay? Reaction videos are like super popular, in case you didn't know. Why did I say that? Okay. So, Watertown Public Opinion, the title is called God Wants Us to Show Mercy and Compassion, Not Judgment. Ooh, okay. So, in a recent South African trial, a frail black woman faces Mr. Vanderbroek, who has been found guilty of murdering her son and her husband. The son he had shot at point blank range and burned the body while he and his officers partied. Several years later, he and the security police colleagues returned and, in her presence, doused the husband with gasoline and set him aflame. In the courtroom, Mr. Vanderbroek had just confessed. A member of the South African's Truth and Reconciliation Commission asked, "So, what do you want? How should justice be done to this man who has so brutally destroyed your family?" And this is where it gets amazing, guys. The woman says, "My husband and son were my only family. I want, therefore, Mr. Vanderbroek to become my son. I would like him to spend a day with me twice a month so that I can pour out on him the love I still have. And I would ask someone to lead me across the courtroom so that I can take Mr. Vanderbroek in my arms and let him know that he is truly forgiven." As assistants led the woman across the room, friends and neighbors in the courtroom began singing softly, "Amazing Grace." I tried to sing that, sorry. "Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me." Mr. Vanderbroek, overwhelmed, hears none of it. he faints. Valerian Otterman, the author of this story, goes on to say, was justice done that day? Probably not. But Mercy won out in a big way. She chose restraint. She chose to forego revenge. She was a healer. She did what the Good Shepherd does. The compassionate shepherd became the prominent image for Jesus in the earliest centuries of the Christian faith. The Jesus experience was an encounter with divine mercy. It was having a heart. Putting on mercy is how a Christian dresses fashionably. In Colossians, Paul says, "Clothe yourself with heartfelt mercy." You can learn about it by reading the Bible, but only behavioral change gives it its traction. The works of mercy call for engagement. Healing follows, so do miracles. The question then is my life one that heals? Luke's gospel is a gospel of mercy, showing Jesus open to all: Samaritans, lepers, publicans, soldiers, foreigners, public sinners, unlettered shepherds, poor, and the outcast. He alone records stories of the lost sheep and coin, the prodigal son, the good thief, all people in need of God's mercy. The message, sensitivity to others and to God go hand in hand. Be merciful as our Father is merciful. So keep score no more and love your enemies. Are you serious? It ain't over till it's over. Well, with Jesus, it's never over. There's always the chance of a new life. His compassion index goes off the charts. Jesus renewed people with a largesse that he repercussions. Okay, I have no idea how that sentence went. Jesus renewed people with a largesse that he repercussions. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to continue. He was in the mercy business, not the judgment business. As his followers, mercy and compassion became part of our DNA. That is, if discipleship means anything. To actively show mercy and compassion to those around us is what we are called to do. Whoever we are, and whatever our station is in life, small acts of mercy can be powerful. Decline to join in gossip against a neighbor. Smile and greet a coworker with whom you have a conflict. Listen to someone who has been hurt. While on the cross, Jesus showed us what true mercy is. May our strongest desire and hope be that of having such a merciful and compassionate heart. Pray for a compassionate heart. This message came to me through Partners in Prayer, Assumption Abbey, and I chose to share. However, this is not their message or my message, but really this is the message of Jesus and those that choose to follow him. So remember that mercy must take precedence over judgment, thus show compassion. This was written by Jody Ingalls, Pastoral Care at Prairie Lakes Healthcare System, Watertown Public Opinion. I honestly should have read that first. Very powerful article. I like that. I'm actually going to bookmark that. Why did I choose this? Why was this so important that I actually dropped my previous topic to discuss this one? Because the world doesn't know what forgiveness really is anymore. I honestly believe that. We live in a generation of generational revenge. There are people out there who look at me and they want me to pay for what may or may not my ancestors have done. Now, does that sound selfish? Well, maybe it's a little selfish. But the power of forgiveness. This woman endured cruelty, not unfairness. Life wasn't unfair to this woman. Life was cruel. But she still didn't blame God, didn't blame Jesus for this. She understands the way this world works. This world belongs to the devil because we humans allowed it to happen. This is an important story because everything in us, a secularist, would think this is nuts, unreasonable. Some might say it's unreasonable to think that God would want us to forgive this. It's not. It's not unreasonable. It's crazy, yeah, but it's not unreasonable. I struggle with forgiveness. I do. I have struggled with it actually, but it's a process for me. Process I think everybody should attempt to make. But once you realize that if you do not forgive, if you do not decide, you know what? I'm not going to blame I'm not going to blame my mom, my dad, my sister, my brother, my uncle anymore. My coworker, my friend, my ex-friend, my ex-husband, my ex-wife. I'm not going to do it anymore. Because you know why? There's a great symmetry to us. You know what it is? Humanity. No one's really a victim unless you're a child, an unborn or a child. You're not truly a victim. Because we all sin. We all do. What I want is this woman's tenacity. This woman's quiet, beautiful faith. It's subtle, but it's not subtle. She wanted to love. She wanted to give her love to somebody that she probably thought needed it. Maybe she thought he needed it. Maybe someone didn't love him growing up. You know what? That's a real thing. It's kind of like a meme. Oh, you didn't get hug enough when you were a kid. I'm not excusing his behavior. What he did was wrong. What he did was flat wrong. But there was a moment in time when we all were babies. And sometimes children are denied that safety, that love from a parent. And it's an extremely painful thing. And when you don't have it, you are aware of it. You are so aware. You think, well, my mom and dad couldn't love me or love me in a healthy way. What does that say about me? Children have this great way, it's actually terrible, of blaming themselves for the shortcomings of their parents. And once you realize that the person that hurt you is hurting too, and sometimes you'll find out that they went through hell in their life, somehow, for at least for me, it makes it easier to forgive. Because some people are not bred for success. They're not. Some people are not raised. It wasn't even an option for their parents to raise their children in a loving atmosphere. It's just so freaking apparent sometimes. But once that child reaches a certain point, a certain age, they're the ones that has to decide to forgive or hold on. I have seen beautiful young ladies that have allowed that bitterness and that hatred eat at them. And it's changed. Not only has it changed them for the worst, but it's changed their physical appearance as well. It will eat at you. This woman took her faith and her relationship with Christ seriously. Her husband took it maybe even somewhat more serious than her, as he was going to pass away in a very horrible way. He said, "Forgive them. Forgive them, darling." And she did. It's possible. It truly is. So, before I let you go, I'm going to read off some powerful Bible verses about forgiveness. Matthew chapter 6, verse 14 through 15. Jesus said that if we forgive others, our Father forgives us. If we refuse, we block our own forgiveness. Forgiveness is a spiritual law, not a suggestion. Matthew chapter 18, 21 through 22. Peter asks how many times we must forgive. I think this is daily. Jesus answers 70 times 7, meaning without limit. Ephesians 4:32. Paul urges believers to be kind and tender-hearted, forgiving as God forgave us in Christ, which means because of what Jesus did for us, God forgives us. But we got to approach him with it. We got to ask him for it. And we got to mean it. And sometimes we have to say, God, I don't know what it is really. I don't know what it feels like. Will you show me? He will. Colossians 3:13, bear with one another, forgive as the Lord forgave you. Pretty self-explanatory. Here is the radical forgiveness. Luke chapter 23, verse 34. Father, forgive them. Jesus said this while he was hanged naked on a cross. And ladies and gentlemen, there is more to that story than what is reported. I truly believe it. What happened to Jesus in those moments when no one was recording, I don't want to think about it, but I think about it. Matthew chapter 5, verse 44. Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. And I think of the South African woman. Love your enemies. Pray for those who persecute you. But what could the TRC do? Number one, grant amnesty. If a perpetrator told the full truth and proved their actions were politically motivated, they could be considered for amnesty. Two, deny amnesty. If they lied, minimized, or withheld information, they could be denied amnesty, and the normal criminal justice system could prosecute them later. But the TRC itself did not judge. Okay, I have to look up amnesty. Okay. Amnesty is a legal forgiveness of a crime, not because the crime wasn't real, but because the person told the truth. The person cannot be prosecuted for that specific crime in the future. The state lets go of punishment. The focus shifts from retribution to truth, accountability, and national healing. It's not the same as saying the crime was justified. It's not the same as saying the victim just must forgive. It's not the same as innocence. It is you told the whole truth in exchange. The state did not punish you. The state will not punish you. Why did the TRC offer amnesty? South Africa was trying to avoid endless revenge cycles, political purges, civil war, the old regime's brutality repeating itself. The idea was the truth is more valuable than punishment when a whole nation needs to heal. If perps hid the truth, the country would never know where bodies were buried, who ordered what, how deep the violence went, who else was involved. Amnesty was the incentive to bring the truth into the light. Okay, I get it. I get it. And if you're a Christian, true, serious believer in Christ, you're a true Christian, this is enough. Now, if amnesty is denied, the person could be arrested, charged, tried in a normal criminal court, sentenced like anyone else. But again, the TRC itself never punished anyone. So I guess if they did, if amnesty is denied, they were sent to the courts. They were sent to the people that would handle the courts and the jails and all that. And why this matters. Officer Vanderbroek wasn't standing in front of a court that could execute him or imprison him. He was standing in front of a commission that could only hear the truth, decide on amnesty, document the crimes, help the nation heal. Her forgiveness wasn't replacing a punishment that could have happened. It was something she chose freely. And that's something that's important to remember about this case is that she chose this 100%. When someone adioses your husband and adioses your child, and you publicly, standing with your faith, declare that you've forgiven him, that you not only forgiven him, but you want him to come over to your house twice a month so you can have somebody to love on, and that you will publicly walk to him and hug him. I just moved the monitor, sorry. But you publicly walk up to him and you hug him? I certainly hope that this Officer Vanderbroek, however it is you say your name, sir, I hope you are a born-again Christian now. That you can have that type of tenacity. You can have that kind of spiritual backbone to give somebody forgiveness. You're like, I am going to make like Jesus and I'm going to forgive. This woman, she's probably passed on now from what I understand about her. She was, elderly. I can't even imagine the crown and robe that girl is wearing right now. Faith probably I know I didn't there's not a picture of her. Don't even know her name, where she was born, nothing. But all we know is what she went through and her reaction to it. But I am willing to say this woman is with Jesus.